Folks, y'all see what it says. I've been meaning to do this all week. My apologies. Just been kind of crazy. Now I'll give a little bit of perfunctory. Y'all know I'm not a fan of any of them that you see in this, ain't for the Breakfast Club or none of this stuff. But I pitch an even hand. But one thing I will say, now this thing is an hour and 24 minutes long, but I'm not going to play that much of it. I'll leave the link if somebody wants to see it. But I did watch the whole thing up to about 15 minutes and about what I'm going to play. And that was a few days ago. So, and I'm suffer from my short-term memory is starting to get real bad. But I can remember what I ate for lunch the first day in elementary school. I can't remember. It's crazy. But, and before I get into that thing when one each Barack Hussein Obama, former president of these United States of America, was sitting there pretty much lecturing those black males there. And I'm looking at them. I'm like, look at these guys. So, I mean, how about saying, well, no disrespect, Mr. President, but how about I vote who I want to vote for? Can you imagine if somebody would have been telling him who to vote for before he was junior senator from Illinois, Obama? They probably did anyway. That's how the left gets down. But you know what I'm saying. I mean, I wouldn't have snapped at him talking all kind of crazy, even though I don't like him. I do respect the position, so I wouldn't have said nothing crazy, but I would have had to straighten that SHIT out right there on the spot when he, this is what you're going to do. And this and that, and this and that and other.
Hold up.
Nah, wait a minute, bruh. That ain't the way this is going down. We ain't doing it like that. I'm doing this my way. But anyway, let's go ahead and play this. You got to get some perfunctory because these people over there at this club place, man, you play anything. Well, me, I mean, I've heard from other people that they ain't got no problem making you take their stuff down. So the only thing I'm going to do, I'm going to keep it clean and give y'all some perfunctory. And we just going to do it like that. So let's go, Mr. Piers Moore.
Well, I honestly don't think it has anything to do with.
And another thing, wait a minute. Him and that other guy, that DJ guy, that his old lady just runs ripshod on him. I know they had that thing going on a while ago. These two know very little about American history. I mean, how do you make it to such a large, wait a minute, that's a rhetorical question, to such a large platform and your knowledge of American, let alone world history, American history is so shallow. But anyway, let's go.
Kamala's race or gender. I think it's because she's turned out to be useless. And sometimes you just have to call what you see. I mean,
most vice presidents are useless, though.
Well, some of them are. And yeah,
that's their job.
Some of them, it's not a great job. You don't really have any power. You just take all the flack. She's been especially ineffective. Let's put it like that, right? I met her actually.
That's not their job, because if something happens to said president, you step in immediately. You don't say, okay, well, hold on, we're going to go presidentless for, you know what I'm saying, until I get my head and my ass wired together. That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works. Ronald Reagan was shot. He survived, of course. JFK didn't survive. LBJ, and I'm not going to get into the conspiracy behind it, but you know what I'm talking about. Well, W had some dude throw two shoes at him. That couldn't have been my security detail, because I'm the president and some dude stand up and throw two things at me. I expect my security detail to yeah, that's what I expect. Ventilate him, give him some extra, give him a couple of more breathing holes in his upper torso. Yeah, I would have fired everybody on my in-room detail.
Once I thought she was very charming to me. I was expecting more. She's obviously a bright woman. She's just been incredibly ineffective for him. I mean, her poll numbers are just as bad as his. So the pair of them,
I think she's been ineffective because of, to go back to the fact, her race and her gender. I think that allows her to say and do things that other VPs probably couldn't, or even somebody like Joe couldn't, but she's choosing not to.
I agree. And I don't think she's done nearly enough for you.
When she ran for president against Joe, she called him, the racist this and you done this and racist this and sexist that and this and that and other. And, he was this big giant racist, but all that went away as soon as he picked her for VP. So I wonder if she still think he's a racist. Y'all didn't hear that? Y'all didn't watch it? Okay, y'all better plug that into your search engine. I watched it. But anyway.
Community, by the way. I mean, a lot of promise came in with Kamala Harris. Where's the delivery? I don't see it. So I don't think she's been effective at all. The interesting thing about Gavin Newsom, if he was to become the nominee.
Gavin banged your wife, Newsom, and no, I'm telling you, they're prepping him. They're prepping him to run. I don't like it. I don't like it at all, but I know he's next.
It solves the problem of how do you fire Kamala Harris if you're a Democrat leader, because they both come from California. She wouldn't be allowed to be his VP anyway. There's a rule apparently in the Constitution about that, or the election rules. So automatically you solve two problems at once. You get rid of this decaying old guy as your nominee with a guy half his age and twice the energy, and you also don't have to have Kamala as VP anymore, and he doesn't have to be seen to be firing her. So it's an interesting little twist on that.
What put you so much into American politics, right? Because
I love it. I don't think there's anything.
Why aren't you into American politics when you have such a large platform and a voice sitting up here? I'm telling you, I can get one of my kids. They would torch the. Now, granted, yeah, they were on the debate team, and one of them, took history at, in college, and what, but that's not the point. I'm talking about when they were in high school, they would torch these two guys.
Like American
I don't think what made you want to jump into the American politics and to learn American politics? Because it's
probably because he lives in America. Maybe that's like I'm saying. I'm telling you, dude, then came in late on the train. Word up! I see Biggie Smalls back there. Yeah, Biggie. But it then come in behind you and know more than you. I would be freaking embarrassed.
It's a lot. It's a lot of bullshit too.
When I came to CNN, I came in started in January 2011, and of course we had the election in 2012, and I just was covering this night after night after night. You got to understand the difference between the American process and ours in Britain. The election in Britain, the general election, it lasts about 6 weeks. That's it. Prime Minister calls an election, and within 6 weeks, it's all over. Right here, it basically starts the moment one's ended,
yes.
And then it really starts at the start of election year for 11 or 10 months. Right? I find the whole process, apart from anything else, you really get to understand what these candidates are about. There's no escape. In Britain, you could actually become a leader of a country like Britain without the public really knowing that much about you, because there's not enough time to scrutinize them properly. Plus, the American media, when it really gets together and goes after people, is a formidable scrutinizing beast. So,
yeah, but the media only goes against the right. Now, I actually remember when the media did kind of sort of go after both sides. I do. I do remember that. But here, as of the past two elections, the past three elections, actually, no. And I don't see it going back.
I love America. It's for me, it's been absolutely the land of opportunity. I've had amazing successes here and a few lows. And I love the fact that Americans, whether you're, I've been all around America doing America's Got Talent. You went to almost every major city quite regularly. And I just love the difference between the states, the cities. But I love the concerted view that America's still the place. If you want to come and be someone, America's still the number one place to make a success of yourself. When I was doing well on TV here, I was very conscious so few British people have done that. Really, just a handful. To hold down a nightly talk show like Larry King's old job on CNN for nearly 4 years was pretty much unprecedented. So I love it. David Frost back in the 70s,
I used to watch David Frost with my dad on the BBC because that's thing living in Michigan, in Detroit specifically. I mean, Toronto is right there, and you can actually pick up the BBC on your rabbit ears. And we used to watch Larry King. I knew about him. No, he was a big deal. I didn't watch Larry King, but I did watch Frost with my dad. If it wasn't for Dad, I wouldn't know who he was. I used to watch him with Daddy.
Have to go back to. So I love everything about America and the can-do mentality and the competition that you have, because you've got 330, 40 million people competing for, these prized jobs. And the work ethic, you have like 3 weeks vacation a year maximum. In most European countries, it's at least double that, right? So you have less vacation time, you work harder, you're more competitive, you're more successful as a nation than anyone in history. I love all that. That plays to all my.
You can't tell the average American that, but the average American ain't never lived outside of the United States, so they have nothing to leverage that against besides what they see and hear on TV or in the internet. Where us that's then lived abroad and in 3 different countries in my instant, just in my situation, you get to see a whole different thing. Like, hey, this place is nice, but I cannot wait to go home.
I like to think I have a strong work ethic. I'm very competitive. I like to win in the biggest possible marketplace. That's America. And I love my own country too, of course. But I love that about America. And you lose that at your peril, and it's this whole issue about democracy in America, incredibly important to preserve the safeguards of your democratic process. When I watched that January 6th...
That's why you can't vote Trump back in.
Well, it's interesting. It'd be interesting.
This is the same clown that sat there and talking about, where Trump at? Where Trump at? We need to get Trump. Okay, so you can't vote. So I guess he's saying that Trump is going to... Okay, if Trump... For him to say that, we already know what he's going to do because he already had 4 years. He didn't send stormtroopers to storm the iHeartRadio. You know what I'm saying? Studios are doing that. Man, ain't nobody do nothing to you. You had liberalism is a mental disorder. Wait a minute. Let me hold on a second, Charlemagne.
Really him. You're a victim. There we go, CSI.
Yeah, that's about that's about that. So man, cut it out.
The one thing I thought was interesting was at the end of his acceptance speech at Iowa, he suddenly sounded very conciliatory and inclusive for the first time. And I go back to the guy I saw across the boardroom on The Apprentice. It may sound trite to do that, but you got to remember, for most nights, for 3 hours, I watched this guy interacting with people. He was a very different person, very different, much more charming, much more, towards the female contestants, towards people who'd had a hard time, much more empathetic. We didn't get this brash, often quite boorish guy that you see a lot of when he was president. I think if you want to understand why Trump became like that when he became president, go and read his book, The Art of the Deal, which I read several times before competing in his show. It's probably why I won it, because I used to talk to him like it was him. But, he says in there, somebody punches you, punch them 10 times back. That's his natural default thing. He has the thinnest skin of anyone in the world.
The sound engineer need to cut his 125 hertz range on his microphone. They need the sound man. Come on, man, get it together.
but he has the thickest too. So he
And 252.
reacts to everything, but he can soak up pressure that would destroy any other politician. The fascinating double skin quality he has. But his natural thing is to be a New York real estate magnate pugilist, right? And if you take him on, as everybody did immediately, and tried to kill him off, he will fight back with everything he's got. That's just his instinct.
You know, I agree with you when you say the Democrats need to move away from Joe Biden, but I also feel like Republicans are doing themselves a disservice by not moving away from Trump, because it's hard to say you're not the party of white supremacy when you're supporting a guy who did an attempted coup this country, a guy who says he wants to be a dictator for a day, a guy who's talking about, killing his political rivals.
Yeah, but let me stop.
More importantly, a guy who said you should eliminate the Constitution in order to overturn the results of an election. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, you can't have somebody.
Yes, you do, because if you want to talk about the white supremacy thing, Joe Biden, what did he say? He's proud of crafting the Clinton drafting and crafting the Clinton crime bill. What did he say about you? About his kids having to go to school with you? These guys, they have to have access to this stuff. This is what I keep saying, y'all. Ideology trumps race. They are so ideologically embedded that they will actually look past the stuff that they know goes counter to what they're talking about. It's called cognitive dissonance. And they have a platform. That's the part. There's no honesty here. It's either I like you or I don't. You sat there, and let that man tell you to your face on your platform that if you have a problem deciding whether you for him or you're for Trump, that you're not black. Y'all remember that? I got the t-shirt. I posted it on my community tab today. So, but he wanna skip past that. This is what you're dealing with when you're dealing with the modern African-American Negro. I take no glee in saying it. It is what it is. Sorry, not sorry, but here we go.
A leader of the free world who doesn't believe in the Constitution.
I agree. And I think the other thing you've always got to be mindful about with Trump is not to take everything he says too literally.
No, you have to.
Oh, you don't have to. I'll take.
Yeah, but he don't take everything that Biden says literally.
When you're the president, you got to. You shouldn't take us too literally because we're just media personalities.
Definitely take us more seriously. No, I think if you look at, for example, the other day.
I can roll off a laundry list of stuff that Biden has said before he was president, when he was vice president and president, that I bet you that this person here has access to. And he'll never mention it. You want to know why?
Iowa, right? He comes out with his crack on the eve of the vote. And he said, look, I don't care if you're sick at home. Just tell your wife, darling, I've got to go and vote. And he said, and if you end up passing away, at least your vote wasn't wasted, right? Mm-hmm. And I watch people on CNN, my old employers, trying to be po-faced about it, right? Mm-hmm. He's basically risking the lives of people in Iowa. No, he wasn't. He was cracking a Trump gag, right? Mm-hmm. And one of his Trump cards, literally, is humor, right? People in Middle America find him hilarious, right? People in New York pretend not to, but probably laugh quietly at a lot of the stuff. A lot of the other candidates seem very dull by comparison.
If he wasn't running for leader of the free world, top 3 funniest people on the planet.
Yes, I agree. So, but also, you got to remember, he comes from a business real estate in New York where bullshitting is an art form, right? That's what they do, right? They just try and persuade people something's worth what it's not. So his entire life has been spent exaggerating, going over the top, all that kind of stuff. And I always say, an interesting question for you guys, if you took away all Trump's rhetoric, which you can't do, but his rhetoric and his tweeting when he's president, take all that away, right? So you never actually hear him speak. You just judge him on what he did. What did he actually do that was so outrageous?
He implemented, he put 3 conservative judges on the Supreme Court.
That's perfectly his right.
Yes, sure.
Wait a minute. Wait, what?
Put him in the fucking bedroom. Get him out of here. Come on.
hold on. Let's go back a few seconds. Now, well, y'all heard what he said. No, let's do it anyway. Let's go back 5 seconds. Let's go back 5 seconds. Okay, play it again, Sam.
Implemented, we put 3 conservative judges on the Supreme Court.
That's perfectly is right.
Yes, sure.
Okay, so that's what he done wrong, according to Charlemagne the donkey. Okay, well, tell you what. I know this. I know I'm going to miss some, but right off the top of my head, matter of fact, let me go ahead and pause it because I don't want to mess it up. Hold on a second. I'm going to pause this for a hot second. Okay, I got it.
Man, this is some bullshit. Boo this man.
Total number of Obama Article 3 judgeship nominees can be confirmed by the United States Senate as 329, including 2 justices to the Supreme Court, which we know who that, Elena Kagan and what's her name? Sonia Sotomayor, 2 Supreme Court justices, 55 judges to the United States Court of Appeals, 268 judges to the United States District Courts, 4 judges to the United States Court of International Trade, 8 appointments to the United States Tax Court, 3 appointments to the United States Court of Federal Claims, 3 appointments to the United States Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims, that's me, 2 appointments to the United States Court of Military Commission Review, that's also me, 2 appointments to the United States Court of Appeals for the Armed Forces, that's also me. Okay, so Obama can put liberals in, but Mr. Donkey here has a problem with Trump doing the same thing for his party that Obama done. So I best because they got a D behind his name, he don't consider that as wrong. Gerald Lynch, Andre Davis, David Hamilton, Beverly Martin, Joseph Greenway, Barbara Keenan, Thomas Van Sacke, James Wynn, Jane Stranch, Raymond Lawyer, Scott Matheson Jr. None of these, they're all Democrats. They're all Democrats. All of them. What do you I'm trying not to get triggered. Y'all wait a minute, hold on. I'm trying not to get triggered.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
But they look how
Conservatives would say that's an amazing success.
Absolutely, but look how far right they are. They got rid of Roe v. Wade, right? They got rid of affirmative.
Did not get rid of Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade was taken from the states by the federal government in 1973. The only thing they did was return the rights, the voting rights, the ruling rights of it back to the states. It didn't go anywhere. It left the federal backyard and went into the state's backyard, where you vote on it at a state level. Please, somebody tell me that this guy isn't that daft, that he do know that. Somebody please tell me. Please tell me he's playing a game. You live in New York State. New York State ain't closed down no Planned Parenthood and the baby Merkin machine. You don't live in Arkansas. You don't live in Texas. You don't live in Alabama. You live in New York, all them blue states, California, Oregon, Washington State, Illinois, India. They ain't get rid of nothing. What are you talking about? You can still murk an innocent baby there legally. The flip you talking about, man? Tell me. What's next? They gonna talk about Brown versus Board of Education? Something else they don't know nothing about. Orville Faubus, the man that stood on it, also signed the Southern Manifesto. Oh, yeah, and he was a Democrat. He was Bill Clinton's governor, and Bill Clinton was under his tutelage. Didn't know that, did you?
Affirmative action in colleges. They're gutting the Voting Rights Act, want to get rid of the Voting Rights Act altogether.
No, voting rights is for American citizens only. You want illegals. You want people that broke the law to be here to be able to vote. That's what y'all goofballs want. That's not what the we already have voting laws on the books, sir. It's not hard for you to look it up and read it, sir. Blue states are making adaptations to the law, sir, by giving them driver's license, which they can later on turn into the Motor Voter Rights Act that they're pushing for, sir. And that's your blue states, sir.
I'm not cool with
well,
that.
hang on. I would say, and I'm not a conservative by definition, I would say that they pursued a conservative agenda. Nothing secretive about that. They did what conservatives would want conservative appointed, Republican appointed judges on the Supreme Court to do. Trump just got lucky that he was able to do it 3 times in one tenure. He just got lucky, right? You could argue with the tactics of the Democrats allowing some of
And Obama done it twice. Obama put in 2 Supreme Court justices. What are you talking about? I ain't talking about Piers. I'm talking about this person here.
those
Even though Piers do work my freaking nerves sometime. But anyway, onward.
Democrat appointed judges to go on too long.
Yeah, but the thing
and
is
allowing them to die on his watch.
But the things they got rid of directly impact, people. They directly impact people that look like me and people that I love. I got 4 daughters.
I'm darker than you. I look more like you. I'm more past you. What the flip does that mean? People look like you. You sitting up here in New York talking to millions over iHeartRadio and being funded by people that look like Piers Morgan, but they got a little black hat on the back of their head. Dude, shut the flip up.
Roe v. Wade is a big deal, and
Listen, I agree with you personally.
Roe v. Wade has nothing to do with the state of New York. And what he's saying, I got 4 daughters. So I guess basically is what he's saying is, I got 4 daughters. And if one day they decide to be irresponsible and, have unprotected whatchamacallit, and they're not married, I said whatchamacallit on purpose, and get knocked up, I want them to be able to go somewhere and get it pulled halfway out, drilled, and then pulled out the rest of the way, which in New York you can. I don't see any of his 4, and I ain't getting after his kids. I'm getting after him because he brought his kids into the fray. Piers didn't say, well, I thought you had 4 daughters. You brought your kids into the fray. Stop doing that, dog. Leave your girls alone. Don't bring them into this fight. You stand on your own.
That is democracy, right? What you're challenging there is actually a constitutional right of an American president to nominate Supreme Court justices. He just happened to be able to do it 3 times in one tenure. That happened to now skew the court conservative.
But you asked me what did he do?
But you can't blame Trump for appointing conservative judges on the Supreme Court. Any Democrat would do the same the other way.
Sure, but he takes credit for Roe v. Wade being gone.
This guy here. This guy.
Yeah,
him personally.
He doesn't agree with you and I. I'm making an assumption here about your view. He doesn't agree. I believe in a woman's right to have an abortion. Okay, I think it's awful that there are states in America which are going to make it incredibly difficult, if not impossible. I would counter that by saying there are many countries around the world where it's completely illegal to have an abortion. You can't go to Poland and have an abortion legally, for example. Malta, I think, is another one. Right? The UK has some of the loosest abortion laws in the world. The current legal term is 24 weeks or something, right? And
he led an attempted coup of this country to overturn the results of an election.
I agree.
Everybody that's been dissected and disproven 9 ways till Sunday. And I say I need to get that Mr. Candy soundbite from the Django Unchained. You shut your lying lips up, and I'm keeping it clean.
And I wrote a column at the time saying I thought it was a despicable assault on democracy, right? And that all plays to Trump hates losing. He got into his head.
And now time for me to get you too, Piers. It went back to the states. You weren't here in 1973. I was. I don't know if this person was alive yet in 1973. If he was probably a little boy, but I doubt if he was even alive. I was a boy in 1973, a little boy, but a boy nonetheless. When the federal government took the rights from the states, the only thing it did was go back to the states where it belongs.
I think he genuinely believes the election was stolen. I think he had a lot of people around him, Giuliani and other people, who were telling him 24/7 it was stolen wrongly from you. And because the number of votes involved is like 40,000 votes, it's a tiny number of votes, right, which he had to, in his head, compute into a loss. He couldn't do it. And that's a failing of Trump. And his failure to honor the result of that election was a disgrace. And I've told him to his face, and he lost his shit with me in an interview and gave it to me, and you're a fool and you're this. I said, well, maybe I am the fool. But I just think if you're an American president and you lose, you accept defeat. I said, there's no doubt the American political system is one of the most secure in the world. The voting system is one of the most secure in the world.
What? What? Have you heard of Dominion? Okay.
So I don't agree with him about that. But, and it's an interesting but, I come back to, if you take away all the rhetoric, actually judge him on what he did. He didn't take America into any wars. That's a big plus to me. Big plus. Right? He had interesting relations.
Notice Charlemagne didn't say anything.
With traditional American enemies, North Korea, China, Russia, right? Did that help or hinder American interest? Would Vladimir Putin have invaded Ukraine if Trump had still been president? I don't know the answer, but he had an interesting way of going about relationships with these people, which America has traditionally been very hostile towards. And there's, if you look at him purely on his foreign policy, I thought he was right about NATO, not in getting rid of it, but in making other countries pay their dues. They're now all
I've been saying that as long since I was active duty.
Paying their dues. Big tick in the box for Trump. He was right. Why should America be paying for everything? If you're a signed up member of NATO and you want the American military to come and support you, you pay your 2% or whatever it was, right? And now they all have to. So Trump did a lot of effective things with his barrel-like thing. He was right, for example, to take on the Germans about their over-reliance on Russian energy. Because when it came to it, Russia turned the tap off and Germany was screwed. So Trump has these sort of, he has these instincts.
If Trump gets
sometimes he's right, sometimes he's wrong, right? But I don't think it's as straightforward as he's Hitler or he's an angel. He's somewhere in the middle.
Hitler didn't start off Hitler either. I'm sure you've read
but
The Fall of the Third Reich.
Trump is never going to kill 12 million people. I can guarantee you.
Yeah, and actually I have a copy of that, and I have a copy of Mein Kampf as well. I bought it while I was in Germany.
He's not going to do that.
I don't think anybody thought that about Hitler either in the beginning.
Well, he showed a lot more sign of it than Trump. But I think the idea of equating someone like Trump to Hitler is stupid. Again, it comes back to that.
So I guess he don't know anything about Kristallnacht and the beer hall push. He don't know nothing about the Treaty of Versailles. I stand here with you today with a paper signed by myself and Herr Hitler that there will not be war. I guess he has no idea. None.
This rock thing. Don't over-demonize the guy. You may have to have him as president here for another 4 years, right? I would urge Donald Trump to change, right? He's got to stop being in defense mode the whole time, right? That's why I come back to his speech in Iowa. He suddenly started sounding much more inclusive. I want to bring independents and Democrats with me this time, right? Has he learned lessons? Does he regret quietly what went on with January? I bet he does, right? Knowing Trump, I bet he does. He'll never admit it, but I bet he does. Would he pivot to a more inclusive president second time round? Has he learned lessons? I don't know the answers to those questions. I know that
You do not include people into your party that means to destroy you. You don't let anyone to your knock, 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 and you look out your front door and there's people that's professed that they don't like you and they're carrying tiki torches and saying, hey, Nick, why don't you let us in? Gotta, be a little more inclusive. Why do you have tiki torches? So we can see around. Well, I have electricity. I have lights in here. But just in case the electricity go out. Dude, I got a 60 kW generator back there. We're good. Drop the torches. You let us in and we'll bring the torches just in case, or we're going to call you names. Well, you can call me names from outside because you ain't bringing your ass in here.
Style enrages a lot of people, but it also delights a lot of people.
Piers, I know that's your guy, but I don't believe none of the bullshit that's coming out of his mouth.
Never mind.
What have I said that's wrong?
As far as what?
As far as Trump, my reading of him.
Well, even if you talk about, what he would do in regards to Russia and Ukraine, I personally think if Trump gets back into the White House in 2024, he would turn his back and let Russia do whatever they want.
Maybe.
To Ukraine.
But if you judge him on what he actually...
Ukraine is none of our damn business. Shouldn't have been involved with that any damn way. None of our business. That's like you walking down the street and two brothers, big brother and little brother, and they arguing, fighting. You mind your damn business, because that's family stuff. And here's the killer part: you get into the middle of it, and later on, them two brothers will attack you because blood is thicker than water.
I think
if actually judges foreign policy and what he did as president, there's no sign of that.
To me, none of that, all of that failed in comparison to how he does not give a damn about American democracy.
I
agree. When you got a guy literally saying, let's get rid of the Constitution to overturn the results of an election.
I agree.
I'm not no.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm not.
I agree. And
he's the guy who says America first.
And there's a very good argument that someone who does that should not be allowed to run again.
Absolutely.
However, your Constitution makes it crystal clear that he can run again. And in fact, even
not the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment said if you tried to lead a coup of this country, you are ineligible to be president.
He didn't attempt to lead a coup of this country.
Let me tell you what's going to happen. The states that have tried to play that card, it'll go to the Supreme Court and they're going to throw it out.
You know why?
Because he got Republican judges.
Yes, that he put in place. Come on, Piers.
But you know why?
Cut it out.
You know why he was able to? Because he was elected your president in 2016.
You're right.
So if Americans didn't want Trump as president, don't vote for him. And the same applies now. Don't vote for the guy. Because you know what? If he can pack the Supreme Court with more Republican judges next time around, that's exactly what he'll do.
Know what?
As the Democrats will do as well.
No, Democrats won't do because they don't have the courage to do that.
Bull crap. He need to play this, rewind back and go through the list, go through the names that I just named that Barack Obama put into office in judicial and judgeships positions, with two female Supreme Court justices, two of them.
They could have done things like that, even when
Piers, why don't you say, well, what about Justice Sotomayor and Kagan? Why don't you say it, Piers? Say it.
Obama could have implemented Merrick Garland. He chose to follow the rules of democracy because Mitch McConnell told him, hey, it's too late in your presidency to implement.
That was a tactical error.
Yes, because when Trump got the chance to do it, he did it.
But let me ask you.
And Mitch McConnell didn't encourage it.
You mentioned Obama. So this is an interesting little question I always throw people. Interesting if you guys know the answer. How many illegal immigrants, did Barack Obama deport in his 8 years as president?
Oh, I don't know.
Have a guess.
No clue.
No clue. Interesting, right? You don't know.
I mean, I know it was a lot, but I don't.
No clue. That's a damn shame that a foreigner know better than you do.
The exact number.
Have a guess.
Oh, I don't know.
Give me a number.
I actually have read that it's more than Trump.
Give me a number.
I really don't know.
Yes.
Bueller.
I don't know.
8 years. 8 years. How many people did he physically have deported in 8 years?
I have no idea.
Well, give me a number. You don't want it, do you?
No, I really don't know. I really don't know even where to begin. I don't know if it's tens of thousands, millions. I don't know where to begin.
Millions.
But I
what the hell is this?
It's a glow rod. It's what we got.
Does it work?
Well,
Guess so.
I've read that it was more
the
than
answer
Trump.
is over 3 million.
Damn.
He was known as deporter-in-chief by Mexicans.
Yes. And that was more than Trump.
He deported way more than Trump.
I
He
read that.
deported way more pro rata than any president in history. Who dropped the most bombs in a calendar year in American history?
Oh, come on. President Barack Obama.
Barack Obama,
Yeah,
right?
you know.
Including drone programs and so on, right? Who got elected in 08, 09 on shutting down Guantanamo Bay? Because as a former lawyer, he believed it was an illegal institution.
President Barack Obama. Yeah.
What is still open today?
Guantanamo Bay.
Correct, right? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I know that the general...
And he has no problem with it whatsoever. None. Him or that other person sitting across from him that we can't see. They have no problem with it whatsoever.
thing is Obama angel, Trump devil.
Right.
But if you actually apply the scrutiny that we give Trump, put it this way, if Trump had deported 3 million people, you think you guys wouldn't know that answer? Of course you would, right? Nobody knows that answer because nobody thought that way about Saint Barack. And I think that he wasn't Saint Barack and Trump isn't the devil. Trump has a more devilish way of talking and he has to be held absolutely to account. And there's a very good argument to say after what happened on January the 6th, he shouldn't be allowed to run again.
And we're going to leave it right there because we're already at, wow, what are we at? 41 minutes, may as well say 42. Folks, I can do this all day, but I'm not going to put y'all through that kind of punishment. I doubt if anybody's still listening at this point anyway. So, I'll leave the link. If I forget to put the link in there, somebody remind me because by the time this video renders down and uploads, I'm probably going to be in the bed freaking sleep. Hey, Lil John.
What?
Let's go ahead and put a stick of fork in this one because it's done. Tell me what y'all think. Tell me what you think. Rate, comment, share, and subscribe. Goodbye.